Hey everybody, my name is McKenna Miller, and today we are going to be briefly covering what context clues are and how we use them to determine the meaning of an unknown word or phrase. We encounter unknown words all of the time, but do we have or know the skills to figure out what that word means? Well, today that's what we're going to practice. Alright, so we're going to do a brief overview of our objectives today, or rather, what is the purpose of today's lesson? So why are we learning what we're learning? What are we wanting to achieve out of this today? So students will know what context clues are. Students will understand that word choice can impact the meaning of a tone, impact the meaning and tone of a passage. And students will be able to identify and utilize key context clues to determine the meaning of an unfamiliar word or phrase. What are context clues? Context clues, if you have never heard that before, context clues are hints in the text that can help a reader figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar word or phrase. We can also find clues in a word called word analysis to help us figure out its meaning. And I do want to make a special note for my little 8th graders listening to this video that during your upcoming diagnostic test, you are not getting a dictionary for your diagnostic test. You also don't get it during the LEAP, if I am not mistaken. So, you're going to need to practice these skills to become an independent reader. That's the goal. I want you to be able to practice and have these skills in your pocket for when you need them. So let's give this a try. Let's practice with word analysis. So moving on, in the previous slide we talked about how there are 2 different ways to use context clues, and one of those is analyzing the word, breaking down the word into pieces. That is called word analysis, and essentially it's exactly as I just said. It is breaking down a word into parts. There is no way any human can know every single word to ever exist in all time and know what it means. It's just not the way that humans work. I don't think we have the capacity to know every single word, which is fine. So that's what this skill is, and that's what we're going to practice today. So let's go ahead and take a look at this word over here, insubordination. It's okay if you've never heard this word before, if you've never read this word before. It looks really big, and it looks pretty scary, and that's okay. So, let's break it down. Yay! Break it down into pieces. The first part of this word is in. That's a good prefix, right? And what do you think? A good way for you to kind of help you with this process is thinking about words that have those parts in them that you already know. So for me, I know another word that starts with in. Incorrect is a good example. I know that correct means that I got something right, but when somebody says I got something incorrect, I know that was wrong. So it was not correct. So I would say in would probably mean not. And y'all excuse my handwriting. I am writing on a laptop mouse pin pad. It's not the easiest. Alright, let's move on. So let me change colors. I'm going to do yellow. So the next part of this word, we're going to break it down into sub. What other words do we know that have the root word sub? Maybe a submarine. And that would be a cool example. And what do submarines do? They go underwater. That's what they're for. You think maybe that root word sub can mean under? I think so. Or it's pretty good educated guess there. Okay, good job. Now, the next part of this word is ORD. That one's kind of weird, but I want to challenge y'all. I'm going to have you pause this video, but before you do, when you pause it, I want you to think about what words do you know that have the root ORD. It can be a prefix, but any word that you already know the meaning of with that in there. Go ahead and pause. Okay, you should have paused. Now you're back. Welcome back. I want you to enter what you think, or any of the examples that you came up with in the comments. If not, that's okay. If you kind of got stumped, it's okay. It's kind of hard. Whenever I think about ORD, I kind of think about ordinary, extraordinary. But in this context, in this word, ORD means something more along the lines of order. So we know that orders can also represent rules and authority. So I'm just going to put rules. Like you order somebody to do something. Okay. What color do I want to do? Let's do green. Right, this next part we have Asian. We see this in a lot of different words. You also see the word literally nation in there. But Asian just means like in relation to. So if we think like in relation to, not under rules. So let's go to this next slide, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the meaning of the word. Okay, where's my chart? How do I get the chart to come up? Come on. Here's my pen. There we go. Cool. Okay, so we broke down the word together. I know you practiced a little bit. And taking the whole word together, based off of what we know now, after doing that, word analysis, what do we think the word insubordination means? We know that rules are not being followed. Maybe not all rules are being followed. So because of the root sub, maybe it's underperforming something. So they were asked to do something and they are not performing completely. Go ahead and give a comment down below on what you think it means. And I'm going to give an example of what I think it means. So let's just say my parents walk into the kitchen and they ask me to do the dishes. And I do not follow the order. I need my pen. I do not follow their order. And doing the dishes is a rule in my house. If I don't do the dishes, I'm going to get in trouble. So, perhaps insubordination might mean not following authority. And I think that's a good example. I'm sure you guys can come up with some other examples too from your own personal experiences, but in general, without looking up the actual definition, I think it's safe to make an educated guess that that's what it means. Okay, so now that we have practiced together using word analysis and breaking down an individual word, let's kind of zoom out a little bit and let's practice using context clues in a broader sense. So we're going to look at a sentence together, and we're going to try to determine the meaning of this highlighted red phrase, bloody slaver. You can also say slaver. And even, I'm going to be honest, even whenever I read this for the first time, I had no idea what the word slaver meant. But using context clues, I was able to figure it out, so let's give it a try. He staggered limply about, the blood flowing from his nose and mouth and ears. His beautiful coat sprayed and flecked with bloody slaver. This is from Jack London's Call of the Wild, page 14. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our word analysis skills to use. Let's give that a try. I see down here, I already know what bloody means. We have blood and then eat, something that is bloody. And then I also see that this word can be broken down into Slav and The first thing I think of when I see this word is slave, or somebody who owns slaves, a slaver. But in this context, I don't think that's what it means, because I don't have any evidence from this sentence up here to support that. So I know that that's not what that means. So let's kind of take a better look at this sentence and find some context clues. Let's find some hints. I see that he staggered limply about. Maybe that's signifying and implying that he just got in a fight. If we were reading this chapter in its entirety, you would know what was going on, but since we don't, we're just going to have to guess using those clues. So I'm guessing he just got in a fight. Also, this is talking about a dog, by the way. Might make a little more sense that way. He's talking about a dog. So this dog just got in a fight. We've got blood coming out of his nose. We've got blood coming out of his mouth and his ears. So it's got a lot going on. And we know that it's something... This bloody slaver is sprayed onto his coat. So we know that it is a liquid of some kind. I don't think any liquid really comes out of his ears, except for maybe blood. But I know that there's stuff that comes out of our mouths and noses. But whenever we get in a fight, I can imagine a dog being rabid with a foamy mouth. So maybe, based off of that, I can infer and make an educated guess that bloody slaver means bloody saliva, or foamy bloody saliva. If you guys have come up with any other ideas on what you think it could mean, please put that in the comments and let me know. I'm just curious. And we're not going to Google the definition of this word because we are practicing for our diagnostic test, if I don't need to remind you. So let's see what's next. I am super proud of y'all. Good job. I know context clues can be kind of boring, but I think y'all did great. I want you guys to continue to practice these skills on your own before the quiz, because the quiz is going to have a lot of words that you are not going to know, and you're going to need to at least show me that you know how to use context clues on the quiz. And that's going to be kind of a jumping stone for your diagnostic exam that's coming up in about a week and a half. So, thank you guys, and I appreciate your interactiveness. Y'all have a good day.